Welcome to the Extraordinary Health Podcast. I am here with your host, Dr. Paul Bekkum. My name is Allie. We also have Liz here.
Hi.
And today we're going to be talking about strategies for transforming stress and ways to cope with stress.
What do you mean? No.
I mean, like after I get off work, working for you all day. No.
Ooh, burn.
Well, there's lots of ways to mitigate and decrease stress, whether it's physical stress, mental stress, emotional stress. Do you want to jump us off here?
I can. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the chiropractic's basic philosophies, what is putting stress on a person's body? That's going to be typically they look at, mental stress, physical stress, and chemical stress. So it could be coming from any of those there. Obviously mental can get branched out, so it can physical, so it can chemical. Obviously, most people think of if they come into a chiropractic office to get things dealt with, they think that they're, getting a physical stress thing probably taken care of because they've injured a joint or, a nerve or a muscle or something like that, and they're going to get that worked on and get that taken care of. But a lot of times there's even, precipitating factors that can be even causing that in the first place. I mean, there could have things like, a condition that you just see a lot in the U.S. here is like diabetes. They just have blood sugars that are out of control, and then that's causing circulatory problems, which then causes problems in their muscles. Their muscles are tighter, or cramp up, or something like that, and that's really what's stressing them, and that's why they ended up coming in, getting treatment for a lower back condition, sciatica, whatever it happens to be. So that's, some of the things that come in. Obviously, there could be other conditions that patients, show up in the office. There's plenty of people that have depression. A lot of times, depression, we're not going to necessarily talk about how to fully get it treated here, but we'll give you some tips on different things that you can even try yourself there. But hey, if you're really suffering with a major depression, you need to make sure that you're seeking the appropriate help to get through that. And a lot of times it's, yes, you can they'll give you pills for it here, but a lot of times it's really, sitting down and talking with a counselor or psychiatrist to work through whatever's maybe, causing your depression there. So getting in, to other stresses, obviously you have, like we kind of talked about this in the last podcast, there's people just think of stress, they hear stress, and they always think of a negative stress, or really that's distress. You have obviously negative things that happen to your body. You get injured or something like that. How many have been injured here?
Me, never been injured. I thought
so. You're kind of like a rubber ball. Everything bounces off you.
No, I've been injured quite a bit. I'm sure there's an entire full X-ray skeleton of me somewhere.
Just not in the closet, right?
Skeletons in the closet.
So there's the negative or the distress that could happen to people, but what you really need to do to help deal with a lot of this stuff is more what is called eustress. You need to do things that are healthy for you, and that's the things that we want to do to help transform your stress, from that distress into something that's good and healthy for you. And, what are some of those things? It's exercising, finding an exercise that you like to do yourself. Most patients, I just tell them, hey, what's the best thing to do? It's literally just doing body weight exercises. Just use your own body weight to work out with. You don't even really need to go to a gym. So there's really don't need to have any excuses that can't go to the gym. I don't have any equipment. Most people are going to do, really, really well just doing things like push-ups. You might have to modify them so that you can do them. But there is going to be a way where you can do it where it's not going to hurt. You can do wall push-ups. It's that makes it super easy. Everybody should be able to do those. Even, like squats. Squats are a nice functional movement that everybody has to do no matter what age you are. And, you might need to use a chair or something like that to help you, or hang on to something so that you can get up and down. But the more you can do these exercises, it's going to help just strengthen your body so that, what happens to people when they get older?
Well, to put it bluntly, you start kind of deteriorating. But it all starts with, losing moisture in your body,
Yeah,
your
dehydrated
bones.
and all that, yeah.
Yep, your bones can become osteoporotic. Your muscle mass starts to kind of, dwindle a bit. And
People get deconditioned, and then pretty soon you can't even just do normal daily activities because you haven't done something to keep or maintain your body. And one of the big things to do, like we just mentioned, is just body weight exercises, even to help prevent osteoporosis. Doing a physical exercise, even if it's just going out and going for a walk, walk down to the end of your block and back. If it's too cold, obviously do something in your house, walk around your house, do something to keep your body active, because the only way that your body is going to improve is you need to put some stress on it, that eustress there. You don't want to get to that point where, and I always tell people with any kind of exercise, once you feel like, the muscles are cramping up, or you feel like it's, not like it's a exercise kind of pain. I mean, there's that good pain when you're exercising, like, ooh, I can tell that my muscles are responding to this well and they're getting better. But if it's getting to that point where it's kind of edgy, where you're just like, ooh, I just don't know, it's time to shut it down. If you get into sports and watch people playing, I guess I always use baseball. It's just really easy to see when you have like baseball pitchers, and most of them, they have that overall strength there. I mean, you can watch them throw, and they can throw the ball really hard. And the problem is that most of them haven't conditioned the smaller muscles, like their rotator cuff muscles, to deal with the stress of, throwing hard for that long. And you can't just go and do some of the big exercises that most people do. You need to do the really fine control type motions and movements. So doing things like yoga would be another thing that people could be doing here that really helps to just strengthen and stabilize the shoulders. Even doing push-ups in different ways, where you do push-ups and then you raise one hand up towards the ceiling, then you bring that back down, and then do it on the other side. You're slowly building up strength in some of the smaller control muscles. So going back to that baseball pitcher, if you watch them and all of a sudden they seem like they're kind of losing control, the ball's kind of going all over the place, it's time to shut them down, because they're going to start hurting themselves because their rotator cuff muscles have shut down. They're just not working right. They have no more control anymore. They can probably still throw it really hard, so it's kind of deceiving, but they've lost the proper control. And with any exercise you want to do for stress here is you want to make sure that you aren't stressing things here, and it's knowing those signals when you need to kind of shut something down here too.
I was going to say, the coach will only let you be in so many players before they pull the pitcher.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was at a game and I think there was 7 kids hit by the one pitcher, and it's just like, gosh. Oh my God, this is getting ridiculous here.
It's one thing if you're watching like minor or major league baseball. It's another thing if you're watching high school.
High school, yeah. It was like, this is ridiculous here.
Yeah, so there was several people there that didn't know when to pull the plug, it sounds like. Yeah.
Yeah, it was innings ago. Should have been done.
So know your limits personally, everybody.
Oh.
So getting back into, some other activities. I mean, what are some other activities that people could do to kind of help reduce stress? Do you guys have any favorites yourselves?
I love to just take a walk. I always bring my dogs, so I get a twofer because
there you go.
Your animals are shown to like de-stress you, right? And so I always take the dogs for a walk when I'm feeling a little bit stressed out.
See, when I'm really stressed, I personally like to be alone. So my favorite thing to do is I like to just go on a long drive. Literally no destination, just listening to my favorite songs and watching the world around me, and obviously watching the road, 2 hands on the wheel. But that's something I like to do to kind of de-stress. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
I like that.
Then you can scream if you want to.
Oh, yeah, lay on that horn. Get out of my way.
Any way to kind of get it all out, get that primal scream therapy.
Have you ever actually done that? I felt like a crazy person, but it was like liberating. Like it feels
can be
good
for
to
people,
just
yeah.
exactly let it out.
Especially if you're a pretty reserved or like mild-mannered type person and you don't let it out very often, that can be very cathartic. Just going off by yourself and just letting it go. Yeah.
You're in the middle of the Grand Canyon. No.
That would be a very loud place to do it.
It's echoing from mine. Some people like to listen to music or something like that too. I mean, that can be, obviously you want to find some music that can kind of calm you down, probably not hype you up there. That's probably not going to help with your stressful situation there. You can get your spouse to massage your feet, right? Especially since we're doing this or recording this on Valentine's Day.
On Valentine's Day.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
I do like to ask my husband for foot rubs from time to time. Yeah. Whether he says yes, that's a different story. But yeah, I ask sometimes. Another thing is cooking. I love to just be alone in the kitchen, and that's kind of one way I show love. It's one of my love languages too, but getting in the kitchen and just like getting my hands dirty and even doing the dishes afterwards by myself, listening to music, like it's a whole thing and it makes me feel better. And added bonus if you're making healthy food.
There you go. Plus, you get your stress out on the dishes.
Yes. Because I usually just throw them out the back door.
Oh, the paper ones.
Yeah.
The dog chases them down.
What do you like to do to de-stress, Dr. Bekkum?
What I like to do? Usually it's exercise. And usually in the morning I will end up, trying to do some kind of meditation there. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just don't have time, but literally meditation can be something there. I mean, I have some different things. I like to use the app Calm because they have tons of different things you can listen to, even educational things that kind of get into different health things there. That's probably one of the biggest things there. I like to do photography too. So one of the things I like to do that would kind of get my mind out of a lot of the stuff that I do all day long is data stuff. So it's kind of like, okay, let's get out of this data mindset here and do something that's a little more visual, creative. So literally taking some pictures. Usually it's landscape type photography or something like that.
Using the other side of your
Sports.
brain.
Yeah.
So using that just helps to kind of shut things off for a while. That's probably the best thing to, get out of like data mode.
I was just picturing you chasing after your dog Sybil, trying to take pictures.
Oh.
I don't have to chase after her because she goes out far enough and circles back. So she's kind of like in and out, in and out, in and out.
So that's another 2-for-1, taking the dog out
take the
and
dog out.
do some photography.
Actually, that's what I just did the last weekend. Not this last weekend, but the weekend before was, went with my wife for a walk and we went for a hike. Had my camera with. Took some pictures of just the scenery there, as well as took some pictures of our dog as our dog's running back and forth, trying to find something to chase.
Cute.
Cute.
See, animals are a great de-stressor.
Even breath activities, too. I do like to do some different breathing type things more. Usually after I do some kind of meditation or something like that, especially with that Calm app, they have a lot of different breathing exercises you can do in there. So it's kind of nice to have a variety there. I don't like getting stuck doing just one thing. It's always nice to kind of learn something different. So if I had probably a sauna, I'd probably sit in the sauna as well. That'd be...
Ooh.
Oh, we should get one of those in the clinic.
Ooh, I vote
We're gonna
yes.
get a shower.
Well, I'm going to put the sauna on the supply list for next.
The next Amazon list.
You have to get the old-fashioned Finnish ones where you have to heat it.
The
actually
cedar.
with wood or
Yeah,
something like
Those
that, too.
smell good. I love the smell of
that actually
yeah.
brings up another point. Is your sense of smell can bring you into a more of a relaxed state too, depending on what you like. Infusing, like with an infuser using like lavender oil, for example, can be very calming. Maybe even just adding that to a meditation with some nice relaxing scents.
Yeah. I guess that does bring up something else that I think we talked about on a previous podcast here too, which was more, I think it's of Japanese origin, which they call it forest bathing. where you literally are going out, and it's not only the sights that you see and getting out into nature and seeing the trees and the plants and all sort of stuff, but obviously it's the aromas, the smells. You know, I'm sure people probably even get into tasting the trees, but hey, we won't go there. But
Tasting the trees?
I mean, there's a lot of different things. I mean, there's a lot of, you know, even if you want to get into medicinal type things, you have like white willow bark gets turned into aspirin. You know, so there are medicinal things that do come from
Tons.
There's lots of medicinal things that come from plants and all that sort of stuff. So once you kind of understand some of those different things, I mean, you can, you know, make things like teas. You know, obviously, that's a big thing in the Japanese culture. So I'm sure it goes to a depth that I probably couldn't even comprehend myself here. I mean, it even gets into, you know, acupuncture is probably something else. People think, oh, that's going to be relaxing. You're putting needles in my body. And it's a whole difference between, I think, Western medicine and Eastern medicine. You know, a lot of the things from Eastern medicine are very subtle, energy changing type things. You know, again, looking at stress here, it's changing your body's energy there. I would say most people in the United States are very, if we get into your nervous system here and kind of talk about it, your autonomic nervous system, they're very sympathetically tuned, meaning that you're kind of more wired all the time. You're on that stressed end of the spectrum there. And compared to a lot of other cultures that are more parasympathetically tuned, they're a little more laid back, relaxed, kind of go with the flow, you know, and a lot of them have just the rituals that they do. I mean, if you think of Japanese culture, there's a lot of rituals that they do that can bring that peace and calm and relaxation just in their daily activities. And that's what a lot of people, you know, if they can just start searching for some of those things, those rituals that they do. I mean, everybody has rituals. You just don't realize it because you're just doing the same thing every day. You know, maybe there's just something you can change in your ritual that you realize that, oh my goodness, this is actually stressing me out here. And I need to exchange that activity or thing that I'm doing for something else that actually helps relax and calm me down. I mean, something that I know that I'm horrible at, I mean, I probably would do better if I just recorded it like we do the podcast here, is like journaling, you know, just literally writing things down. I did start using like a bullet journal to kind of capture things for myself. It is kind of nice because it helps clear your mind out, and you feel like you've gotten things out of your head then rather than having them in your head. And if you keep things in your head, really your brain's not meant for saving things and storing things. It's meant for thinking about things and creating things. So it's flipping that switch and realizing, oh, I don't need to, you know, store this in my brain. Having something you can write it down on or something you can capture it with, whether that be shooting a video of yourself or recording an audio or whatever you have to do to get it out of your head, and having it in a place that you know that you can remember it there. You know, I know things I've looked at lately, they'll call it like your second brain, have a place where you can keep stuff. There's tons of different things you can look at if you search the internet for that. But at least you're getting stuff out of your head, and that's going to help reduce your stress because mentally you're not going to be thinking about those things anymore, and you'll probably even be able to sleep a little bit better and all that as well. I mean, there's tons of different things you can do to kind of de-stress as well. Get the people that get into like the ASMR videos, right?
Love those. I do. Well, so generally speaking, they're not for everybody.
No.
There's definitely certain types of people that get more out of those videos than others, but those will put me right to sleep. They are my favorite. Listening to like plastic crackling and just like soft talking, and yeah, that's
people popping bubble wrap.
It distresses me for sure. Yeah.
Listen to people chewing on things.
Well, some things are better than others. But those, I mean, nights where I really can't sleep and I've already done other things to de-stress, I will throw on some ASMR videos or audio, and I'll fall asleep to it pretty quick. Yeah.
You get all those people listening to all the chiropractic crack videos. We like to hear all the bones and joints making all those noises.
It is satisfying.
Yeah, it is.
Can't explain it, but it's satisfying.
Or
Although, since we brought that up, I should reiterate, just because you didn't hear a pop doesn't mean you didn't get something mobilized.
I think one other thing I can think of too is I've had some patients that really have gotten into like EDM, type music, and a lot of them, obviously that can be stressful too, but it can be relaxing as well, depending on, what you're really doing there. So think of patients that have like ADHD or something like that, and some of the music that they listen to that actually calms them down would probably make another person go absolutely insane. It's just,
Well, it's just like caffeine
Yeah.
can sometimes have the opposite effect on some people and make you more tired.
like, my daughter had a friend who, if she drank coffee or a Coke, she would fall asleep.
Wild to me.
Interesting.
And there's people that have that opposite reaction to like medications and stuff like that too. I mean, you have a medication that you're taking is supposed to lower your blood pressure, and it raises your blood pressure. It's everybody's different and unique, and even in the office. I mean, that's why we do all the different tests that we do to try and find out exactly what people have going on, so we can make sure that we're giving them the most appropriate treatment to help them get better. So I think obviously we can kind of keep going on and on and on with a whole bunch of other things here too, but I think the big thing is, because everybody's different, and I could tell you to do something and that might not be what it is for you, and you need to find those things. Or a lot of times it's reflecting back. And I think I heard something the other day. It was more like reflecting back. It had to do more with looking back at, when you were, I think it was about 12 to 17 years old. Something probably happened during that period of time. And I think they were talking about a job, but it still also has to do with stress here too. You can probably think back, what really stressed you out when you were about that age, or what actually gave you something that, hey, I know I can go back to that and think, what did I do back then when I wanted to just kind of disconnect and not do anything? Maybe you got on your bike and went for a bike ride or something like that. You got in your car, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did your primal scream therapy as you're driving down the interstate to get all your aggression out in the vehicle, and then you drive back home. Oh, I'm good now.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
It could have been a whole bunch of things. Maybe like going for hikes. Maybe like playing a sport that, once you get into that sport and you kind of get into that flow state plan, it's like, hey, that really actually helped me relax. It's a good activity. Maybe it's like I like to play soccer, and maybe it's something you can find a group where you can go out and play soccer, and it's something where you're getting some physical exercise, but it's also mentally de-stressing you too, because it's like, I like to do it. It's fun. I'm not here maybe to compete. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. But if you get that competitive attitude in there, that usually kind of puts the stress on you a little bit more again as well. So find something that you like to do. Usually it's best if you try and do it probably outside, so you can kind of connect with nature and all that sort of stuff as well. Get your hands dirty, garden.
It's almost springtime.
Yep, that's coming up pretty quick here. So hopefully, maybe in most parts of the country. I don't know about Fargo.
Yeah. We'll get our fake spring.
I was going to say,
before
well,
our real spring.
I think we just had Fool's Spring over the weekend.
Oh,
That's
really?
what it is. Fool's spring,
spring,
not
yeah.
fake spring.
We only have 2 seasons here anyway.
But
Yep.
they flip back and forth a few times.
We have winter, and we have road construction season.
That's on living in the Midwest.
I was thinking just winter and non-winter. And they sometimes flip-flop when they shouldn't be.
It's true.
Why do we have snow in June?
Because Mother Nature said so. Well, as high pressure systems, low pressure systems.
Yeah.
moisture in the
No,
air.
that's like ASMR for some people right now.
Simple meteorology.
Go watch the Weather Channel. Destress. But yes,
and that might be somebody's perfect way of de-stressing.
I think the big point of the whole thing is just try and find something that that you can intentionally do that is going to actually help you de-stress, disconnect, and help you deal with whatever you have going on. Whether that be depression, anxiety. Just find something that you can get away and just kind of calm down, relax. Find your center. That's where meditation's kind of good. But hey, that might not be for you.
Just keep in mind you're doing it for you and only you. You may be under the recommendation of a doctor, but it's ultimately for you. So do whatever feels right for you.
And don't worry about what other people think. You have to do the things that are going to be mentally, stimulating and relaxing for you so that you can, help heal yourself.
All right, well, I'm going to go take off for the rest of the day and go de-stress.
Okay. You're going to go do some forest bathing?
Maybe. I'm going to need the afternoon off.
I'm going to go do some Target bathing.
That's called retail therapy.
Yes.
Sometimes
Bathing and deals.
It might be good to deal with stress and anxiety, but all of a sudden your pocketbook is like, wait
I'm honestly,
a second here.
I like to online shop, but I just throw it all in my cart. Usually, I'm not going to say never, but usually I don't ever buy anything. It's just like, oh, this is cool. This is cute. Throw it in the cart.
Just got to be careful to hit that save for later button or you end up with a situation like me at lunch. I went home and I had an Amazon package on the front steps and it was a rainbow colored lava lamp because I accidentally forgot to save that for later.
It happens.
Came with all my rice and spices.
What a random package.
Set it up on the counter and you can go stare at your lava light and de-stress.
That was kind of the idea originally. I ordered it after our last podcast.
That's hilarious.
Well, it's easier to take care of than a fish tank or an aquarium.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, thank you guys for listening today. You go out there and find your best way to de-stress for you.
And happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Bye.